It's just a case the players are just too good. The players are just so good it doesn't look like they're trying, and the fans can't really see that they're trying because they're so good, and that's why we're having a hard time connecting with the NBA. That's the long and the short of it. At least according to Caitlin Clark, it is my personal favorite athlete right now by a mile. Um, I like her a lot, I really do. Um, but I got to disagree with her on this one, and I get it. I mean, she's a basketball player. She needs basketball as a whole to be good. She's really done a lot of deflecting and protecting of the WNBA, which is a smoldering trash fire of a organization, poorly run, poorly managed, poorly everything except for her personally, and really the way they've handled her has been poor and pitiful, and they need to be very, very ashamed for how they have treated her and blown their what's been a golden opportunity and probably driven some fans away, and not far from driving fans away for good, because we don't want to watch her continue to get just pissed on. I mean, there's only so much that you can watch. She knows she needs the WNBA to be good for her brand. It's important to her. She wants to be the best player in a good league, a well-run league, which is not a good league and it's not a well-run league. She's definitely the outlier, but she needs it to not look that way. So I get that. And she needs basketball as a whole, the NBA, to not look like a steaming dumpster fire, but it is. There's a lot of things going wrong. But yeah, so Caitlin, she said, I think it's just a case where, and she wasn't really like calling the fans out. It'd be a lot different if she was. Caitlin's a very hard person to stay mad at. She made those white privilege comments in the Time magazine article. We were all mad at her for about 2 days and then got over it. We just can't really stay mad at her because we know that she doesn't really, she's says these things and for good intentioned reasons. We feel like she's given us no reason to think there's not good intention behind these things she's saying, but ultimately we don't agree with them. Just like I don't agree with this, but I do feel like there's good intention behind that. She's really made a lot of friends with a lot of NBA players, especially on the Indiana Pacers, like Tyrese Halliburton. And they're all under fire. The NBA is under fire because it looks like they're not trying hard, and the reason it looks like they're not trying hard is because they're not trying hard. And she says, well, it's just because they're just so good they make it look so easy. Well, no. Michael Jordan made floating through the air look easy. Uh, that didn't turn fans off; it turned fans on in a big way. It made us tune in, and to this day, over 20 years after he retired, period, from the Wizards, and some 25 years since he over 25 years since he retired from his heyday with the Bulls, we still talk about him, watch his mixtapes, and love him. He was out there trying really hard. But he made it look effortless. He made those crazy mid-range fadeaways look effortless. He made, especially in his earlier days, he made flying through the air look effortless. Um, but we knew he put a lot of effort behind that, and it was fun to watch. So maybe these players need to make it look harder if that's the case. But now we can tell, we can see they're not trying, and we can see that it's just not important to them. I mean, why else would the NBA have to make rules that you have to play at least 65 of the 82 games in order to even be eligible for awards like the MVP or the Defensive Player of the Year? So that they've had to do that so Joel Embiid will never get it again. So they'll never have to make that mistake again. Thank you, Kendrick Perkins. Uh, quicker ESPN gets shut down and Elon Musk buys them and fires everybody. It cannot come quick enough. But yeah, that's at the end of the day, they're not trying, and that's where the NBA's got to take some drastic measures because their ratings are just down so bad, and everybody now it's just they can't get away. They can't sweep it under the rug anymore. So the NFL right now is at a point where they can still sweep a lot of stuff under the rug. Their day of reckoning's coming, but that's still a few years down the road, or maybe only a year or two down the road. But I think it's a few years down the road. Um, as far as the problems they're having with their product's not been good for a while, or as good as it should be. The NBA, it's just been so bad for so long, or so down from the standards that it needs to be for so long that we've pretty much given up on it. I know I have. I haven't watched hardly any NBA in a long, long time. And the little bit that I have watched, like even the Western Conference Finals last year, and the semifinals between the Nuggets and the Wolves, and the finals between the Mavericks and the Timberwolves, I'm just like, oh man, is this really as good as it gets? Well, I guess not, because Boston won it all, but I can't stand watching Boston. There's way too many threes. They're gonna have to, do something about the 3 point line, and they're going to have to get rid of guaranteed contracts. You don't get a dime unless you step on the court, unless you play at least, I don't know, 30, 35 minutes a night at least. That's what you have to do to earn any money. And like I said, you have to put forth some sort of effort. And I don't know how you legislate that in, but, people aren't going to show up for if you're just standing there. So maybe some sort of gate based incentive. Now, of course, that's going to put small market teams at even more of a disadvantage than they already are at, but we're already there, so who cares? So, I'm sure they can find a way around that and maybe distribute some of that money for some of these other places. But, you got to give us a reason to care. If it's not important to the people playing, it's not important to me. It's not important to the fans. Why are we going to buy tickets to a game, even a big name, a game against a big name team like the Lakers? I guess they play in Charlotte once a year. If I were a fan of LeBron and wanted to see LeBron live, which I don't, but if I did, why would I buy tickets when there's a chance he might not even play? When Anthony Davis might not even play? Somebody else I have no desire to ever see. So I really don't like LeBron. Please, LeBron, retire. Just get out of there, please. Had about enough of you. You're not the GOAT. You'll never be seen as the GOAT. And quite honestly, the longer you go, you might fall out of the top 10. And I know you might think I'm being over dramatic or too much of a Jordan homer in saying that, but I mean, goodness gracious. Jordan's better. Bill Russell's better. He was a winner. He stuck with one team for 13 years, won 11 championships. Kareem's better. He had a lot of longevity himself. He didn't get to jump straight to the NBA out of high school like LeBron did. He played well into his 40s and was winning championships in his 40s. Won 6 championships, 6 MVPs. He's better. Hakeem Olajuwon's better. He took a series of underwhelming teams in Houston, to say the very least, and made them respectable, got them to the playoffs, and won 2 finals. And he did it on both ends of the floor. He was a beast in the post. He had a very underrated mid-range game, and he's the all-time leader in blocks, at least recorded blocks. Bill Russell probably have the record, if they kept record of blocks back then, but in all the time since, Hakeem has the record, and he also had a lot of steals. He played defense and offense at a very high level, as did Jordan, as did Kobe, who, by the way, is also ahead of LeBron. 5 rings, 1 team. He did the opposite of LeBron. LeBron wanted a team with as many all-stars as possible. Kobe wanted to prove he could do it, without another all-time great. He won 3 with Shaq and said, I can do this without Shaq. And he did it. He won back-to-back championships, and the best player on that team was Pau Gasol. A very good player, but, I mean, he's not a top 75 player. He's probably not a top 100 player. And Kobe proved he could do it. He did it the right way. If you can say it that way, he kind of did it in reverse of what they're doing nowadays. He didn't collude with anybody. He tried to with Chris Paul after that, when he realized, okay, now the other teams are colluding. Now I need to collude, because, when the LeBron made his whole decision thing, at the same time, they tried to get Chris Paul to the Lakers, and they vetoed the trade. The NBA said no, while LeBron, Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade colluded behind their backs. So, you can't put LeBron ahead of any of them. You cannot put LeBron ahead of Magic or Larry. Magic and Larry did not have the longevity or anywhere close to what LeBron has, but in their prime, they meant a lot more to their team. They did not have to, again, go behind people's backs and collude. They were able to win championships on their own, and they would have won a lot more championships were it not for the other. They could have teamed up, but they didn't. In 1990, You look at Michael Jordan hadn't won a championship yet. Hakeem had not won a championship yet. Charles Barkley hadn't won a championship yet. Like Bosh and Wade and LeBron, they were all in the same draft class. They could have teamed up. They didn't do it. They did it the right way. Even though Charles never won a championship, there's a lot more respect there is for a lot of people like Kevin Durant that actually have championships. So yeah, you can't put LeBron ahead of Magic and Larry. You can't put him ahead of Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan won 5 championships, all for the Spurs. And you can talk about super teams with him and Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker. Well, they're not as good as you think they were. You take them away from Duncan, and they're not much. And I know he won his last championship, and Kawhi had really kind of taken over. But again, Kawhi was still up and rising at the time. It wasn't the same Kawhi that won the championship in 2019 with the Raptors. He was still a lot younger and a lot less seasoned. So even though he was the best player and the MVP in the finals, you still have to give a lot of credit to the big guy, to Tim Duncan. So yeah, LeBron, please get out of there. That's the second thing that needs to happen. Get rid of guaranteed contracts. Get LeBron out of there somehow. Just go on strike until he finds out he doesn't want to play basketball anymore. We won't miss you. We'll wait on you, NBA. We'll wait on you. I promise. So, I'm not 100% serious when I say that, but they do need to take the power away from the players and get rid of guaranteed contracts. They'll strike. They might miss a whole season. It's okay. You need to take the short-term hit for a long-term gain, because long-term we are not looking good. The NBA is not looking good, and they need something big. They need something drastic. And if that has to happen, so be it. Again, maybe just getting rid of the three-point line altogether. So be it. If it's the same rules for everybody, you can't complain. They went without a three-point line for a long, long time. They went without the three-point line being really all that big of a deal for a long, long time. And they were just fine. At one point in the late 90s, they pulled the three-point line inwards to try to get them to shoot more threes. Yeah, once upon a time they're having to try to get them to shoot more threes. Now they need to get them to shoot less threes, or like I said, my plan were for the first 43 minutes of every game. It doesn't matter where you shoot it. Every shot's worth 2 points. Every field goal, I should say, is worth 2 points. If you get fouled while shooting, it's 2 free throws. Unless it goes in, then you get 1 free throw and you get 3 points the old-fashioned way. And then the last 5 minutes, yeah, you have those buzzer-beating threes, which are pretty fun. But, force them to bring that mid-range game back. Get rid of guaranteed contracts, and hell, make them fly commercial. Make them have to want it. Give them a chip on their shoulder. Make it where they got to do it out of just pure love of the game. A lot of the people back in the day didn't have all of the extreme luxuries they have nowadays. They didn't have the $50 million contracts. Role players weren't making $30 million. You just gotta, money changes everything, and you're seeing in college football players, opting out of bowl games left and right, or they'll play a bowl game long enough to break a record, then say, okay, I'm done. And that destroys me the most. You got to get the money out of there, or at least make them earn the money by playing. If you don't play, you pull any of that garbage, you don't make the money. You have to go out there and play every game. And it seems simple to me, but what do I know? So yeah, no disrespect to Caitlin, but I disagree with her 100% on that one. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you later.